I wanted to thank Gravel for sponsoring this video. More about them later, but thank you so much for sponsoring this video. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cassie Ray, and I am the owner of Honestly Bare for my website and this YouTube channel and all of the things. So I wanted to say thank you and welcome if you are new. You will be hearing my AC going because I do live in Texas and it's like a ridiculous heat wave going on right now. I just got like a alert on my phone saying that it's way too hot and we're in a fire weather warning. So I'm gonna keep it on. I keep saying that in all my videos because someone always comments in all my videos that the air is too loud, but it's just too hot for me to turn it off. So you are in my office right now. You're going to be joining me as I talk to you about ways to save money. My husband and I used to not really be like huge money saving or budgeting people. Whenever we first got married, we ended up finding that we were pregnant very quickly, and so we learned to live off of one income, which was my husband's income, and my income was actually put towards all things baby and house improvement related stuff that we needed in order to be able to be prepared for our child's arrival. So we always just kind of scrambled. We never scrambled, right? Like we were really like diligent in making sure that whatever money that we did spend on like our normal expenses and everything like that was on my husband's income, and anything we wanted as far as like fun money or improvements or something was on my income. But we were both making a lot more money in the area that we lived in when we first got married, so it was relatively easy to kind of like stay within those boundaries and stay within like the range of money that we needed to have. But then we ended up moving, as most of you guys know, and we moved to a totally new place, a new area. We moved to a place that we both grew up in, so we are like familiar with the area, but it's definitely different. You don't make as much money from your jobs here, and the price of living is like expensive but not. So it's kind of like this weird area as far as that is concerned. So for us, we never really had to like start budgeting until we actually moved to this new location. And so that was very interesting because of the fact that I had clients in the area where I worked. I was a birth doula there, and so I had to remake new clients. I had to get a new job. So did my husband, and so whenever we moved here, there was a small portion of time where we had to kind of like really budget and really figure out our finances because we were making way less money and all of that. Luckily, we were living with family, and so we definitely made a sacrifice with living with family, not because like they're awful to live with, but because it's just we wanted to just move into a house. We didn't want to have to build a house. We didn't want to do any of that. We actually just wanted to, like, if we could, just move into a place. But there was no place that we could afford, and there was no place that would make sense for us. So we ended up living with family during, and we still are living with family until our house is done, which it should be done in a couple of months, which is very exciting and very rewarding. But it does make it a little bit more difficult financially to kind of figure out how things work because we are paying for a home. And so anyways, my first tip for you is to figure out if you can live with someone else, either on minimal rent or no rent at all, or if you can find a place that your rent would be cheaper, or have your house refinanced in a different way. Just if your living situation as far as what you're paying for with your mortgage and things like that, if you could rearrange it or make it different to make it cheaper, that would be a really wonderful place to start if you're looking to save money. It is a lot more like harder to do, so I have a ton and a huge list of everything that I think would be helpful outside of that, but just if you needed an idea, that was my first tip. So the second tip that I have is to do pantry challenges on the weekends. So what is a pantry challenge? Pantry challenge is where you look in your pantry, you look in your fridge, you look in your freezer, you look at everything to see like what you have, and then you make meals from that. And so I do that every single weekend. So I only plan my grocery plan for Monday through Friday, and we will eat leftovers for lunches throughout the week. And then on the weekend, that typically means that we don't have any leftovers to eat. And so on the weekend, I like to do pantry challenges, which is where I go through the pantry and I come up with something out of the blue out of all of the little bitty bits that we have left over, because I found after doing that we had a ton of food all the time, and I could see that like we would have so many leftovers that at the end of the week I would have to clean out the fridge. And I was like, I don't like cleaning out the fridge, so I don't really want to clean out the fridge. And two, there has got to be a better way on how to conserve and make our food last and stretch longer. And so one of the ways that I was able to do that was trying to do pantry challenges during the weekend, because I was home. I was able to see what we had everywhere and have the time to be able to do that. And I also was able to see what we had left over that needed to be used up before I was able to buy new groceries. And so that was something that just made sense for us. Still do it, and I probably will never change just because of the amount of money savings and time savings that I have had with this. The success of this particular like idea and thought is insane, because we have saved so much money, and I saved so much time by not having to clean out the fridge and then wash all of those dishes. So much better idea for me, because I hate doing both of those things. So doing a pantry challenge really helps, and it also lets me know like, okay, I have 1 carrot left, I have 1 tomato left, I've got half a cucumber and can of black beans and like all this random stuff. I get to make something cool out of it, and it gives me the creativity and flexibility of doing like fun recipes like that still. Because what I found is whenever we lived in our old house, in our old place, I was able to come up with like super elaborate meals and stuff like that because of the fact that we made more money, so I was able to purchase those items. And because I just enjoy cooking. I love being in the kitchen. I love coming up with ideas. It makes me super creative, and I just really like that. But sometimes it doesn't save you the most money. And so what I have had to do was come up with like our tried and true recipes, and I might pick like one recipe in there that's new that I'm pretty sure that we're gonna like but I've never made before, and I'll throw it in there. But everything else is pretty much like tried and true recipes or a variation of the same recipe that I usually make. And then on the weekends, it gives me an idea and lets me be creative like I love to be, and it kind of gives me that fix that I like without having to spend a ton of money. So it's something that I really enjoy. Like for instance, I made black bean brownies the other weekend, and that was something that was really exciting for me to try because we have never had those. I've never made those. And it was something that allowed us to use the half a can of black beans that we had left, and also gave us a really tasty treat on the weekend. So it's stuff like that that makes me really excited, and I love being in the kitchen and doing stuff like that. So for me, it just makes more sense, and for our family, it just makes more sense for me to do that. On Saturdays, I don't cook, so I usually do like the kind of like pantry challenges on Fridays to prep for Saturday, and then also on Sunday I make all of my meals out of stuff that we have left over. So anyways, there's a little tip for you. I hope that that helps. And then the next thing is to find the cheapest place to purchase your items. So for instance, whenever I do my grocery pickups and hauls, I will either do one grocery haul at H-E-B or Walmart or something like that. But I found that I find the best prices, and it's actually cheaper for our family to go to H-E-B and Walmart to get certain things, and I do grocery pickup at both, so I know exactly how much I'm spending at both places and exactly how much it would be total, right? So I like doing that, and I find that some things are cheaper on Thrive Market as well, which I'll be sharing with you a Thrive Market haul in like the next video, so you get to kind of see what I get there. But Thrive Market is a huge way that I get to save money, and I bounce between Thrive Market, H-E-B, and Walmart. And so those are my 3 places that I find the cheapest prices at, and I go and see which one is the cheapest, and I price compare and like stuff like that. Now I've got it down. I already know what I can get at what places and what places would be the cheapest, but I used to not, so I would have to go and like look up things and like take the time to look it up, but I promise you it is so worth it. And our H-E-B and Walmart are like super close together really, so it's like not like I'm wasting a ton of money on gas going to both places. And then Thrive Market, the shipping is not outrageous. to pay for that, so I like to use those places. We typically live a non-toxic and gluten-free lifestyle, so that can be very costly if you do not watch your finances, and it also is something that is just a little bit more difficult to navigate, and because of that, Thrive Market is one of like the easiest places that I've been able to use and find for like gluten-free items that are cheaper, as well as just our non-toxic like cleaning products and things like that. It's all a lot cheaper on there, and that was something that I was totally unwilling to change, because I used to buy from Young Living and all of those places, and I really enjoyed it, but it was very expensive, and I wasn't willing to totally cut out our non-toxic lifestyle because of the fact that we couldn't afford it. There was so many cheaper ways to go about it that I just wanted to be able to use that to our advantage, and it took a couple YouTube videos and research later, but I have now been able to keep up on our non-toxic lifestyle that's gluten-free and not spend a ton of money. So again, just letting you know and informing you that it is indeed a good idea. Along the lines of like food and things like that, buy in bulk whenever you can. So my husband and I buy a fourth to a half a calf every year, and we use that as part of our meat supply, so that way we don't have to buy it in the grocery store. First off, it's better meat, better quality, better everything. We actually get it from a friend, so we know like that it's being well taken care of and things like that. On top of that, we also buy in bulk like nuts, seeds, dried beans, flour, things like that, because it's a lot cheaper to buy in bulk and then to use that throughout the year and then replenish once or twice a year versus having to go and buy that every single week at the grocery store, because with inflation we have found that prices change frequently and not for the better. So it's better to buy in bulk at a cheap price whenever you can, and then after that you can then move on to something else. So there's my tip for you, because that's what we have done and we have found great success with that. So I just wanted to let you know that and give you a little idea. The next thing is to invest in kitchen equipment, such as an Instant Pot, a crock pot, a coffee grinder, a coffee pot, like a Mr. Coffee coffee pot, something like that. Investing in used kitchen appliances that will make your life a little bit easier. So for instance, an Instant Pot. Sometimes I don't feel like thawing like meats and stuff like that. Hold on. I don't have time to always thaw meat all the time, but I do enjoy having a home cooked meal, and we truly cannot afford it right now with the amount of inflation and paying for a home. That's why we're so, like, the terms like gazelle intense, that's why we're so gazelle intense, is because we're paying for our home and we're trying to finish up our last bit of saving that we need for this month, and then whatever else we need to pay for later on we will, but we're trying to get the last bit of that out. And so anyways, all that to say, sometimes I come home, I don't thaw out the meat that I need to thaw out, or I forgot, or something or other, and so an Instant Pot or a crock pot is something that I utilize all of the time because it helps so much and allows me to save money, because I already bought the groceries and I need to use them to be able to save the money. So it allows me to be able to make the actual dinner that I meant to make, and it allows me to be able to have it to be done in a timely fashion to where my family is not starving. Because I feel like the closer you get to dinner time, the more your family starts to swarm around you while you're cooking, and so if I can make sure that I have dinner on the table at a good time, it saves us money also for wanting to go out and to go out to eat and things like that. So anyways, I say invest in an Instant Pot if you can, or a crock pot. I use my crock pot all of the time, particularly on like Tuesdays, because I have meetings and my husband has meetings, and so it's nice to just kind of like have that time already done, like cooking already done. The next thing I have is like kids clothes. So kids clothes can be something that's very expensive. We have done this one of two ways. We have bought all new and it's been really expensive, or we have done what I'm about to share with you today, and it's been really helpful. So kids clothes, we usually try to make a list of things that they're outgrowing. So t-shirts, shorts, like for summer, t-shirts, shorts, swim trunks, and like some summer shoes and tennis shoes. Those are like the two things that we usually get. We also get like a little summer hat or something like that. The winter, we usually get like winter boots, a winter hat, a winter coat, and then some like shirts and pants. So we stick to the basics. So that's the first thing, stick to the basics, because you can start looking at everything and be like, oh, it's so cute, I need to get that for them. But realistically, they're probably just gonna stain it and mess it up. So what I have found to be the best and easiest way for me to be able to make and get my son's clothes at a reasonable price is finding it on Facebook Market and using that as a way to be able to have a whole entire winter wardrobe without spending a lot. Because a lot of times people are just trying to make a buck and get rid of their clothes that they have already purchased for their child. So I will buy those clothes. They usually come in huge totes because they're just trying to get rid of it, and I usually just look up the size above. So that's usually what I do. And then as far as like shoes and hats and stuff like that, we buy really nice quality shoes for our child and hats and coats because we're planning on passing it down to the next baby. So all the stuff that we buy like in that kind of retrospect is really nice but used. We don't buy new. Like the winter hat and the shoes and the coat that we got for our son this past winter was all used, and it was really, really cheap. And so we were able to do that, and they're still really good quality for the next baby. The other thing I have to mention is to try to buy like gender neutral clothing, just because then you can use it for boy or girl, and you can use it for any of the babies. So I just wanted to point that out there. Another thing that could be a little bit shady for some people, but I enjoy it sometimes, is Amazon clearance. They have some really good items on there that are really cheap, really basic. Like if you need like a basic pack of teas, that is like the place to go. So anyways, I just have that. So buy used for your kids, because most likely they're going to stain it, and that way you don't feel obligated to make sure that they stay nice. Clothing is not something that's super big deal to me or my husband, so with our child we just kind of like mention that if you're clothed, you're really doing a good job, and like that's really wonderful because some people don't even have clothes. It's kind of our mindset. So next thing is buying used furniture and then fixing it up. So a lot of times people are just trying to get rid of stuff. You will find stuff on the side of the road. You'll find stuff like anywhere. And people are trying to get rid of it. Facebook Market, like they're trying to get rid of all this stuff. And so you're helping someone out by purchasing that from them. And you're helping them with their finances. And in turn, you're also getting something that helps and works in your finances with your budget. And so with our new home, everything in it is pretty much used. Even like the kitchen appliances, everything is used. My husband and I always have bought used, and something that we just kind of like always want to do. So yeah, find used furniture and fix it up if you don't like the look of it or something like that. Spray paint covers everything. So if you ever buy something and you're like, I don't like that at all, spray paint it or paint it or chalk paint. That covers a multitude of things. So there's that. The next thing is to organize your life. So this is my planner. I love it. I eventually will show you and tell you the whole story behind this planner. But I love it. It has helped me so much with just organizing things and knowing when to make money and things like that. So when to make money, when I need to make dinner and stuff like that. And so organizing your life with your planner and organizing your life with your meals. It could literally be like a notebook, and you just writing down your meals Monday through Friday, and writing down breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's it. And then also writing down like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and writing down like what you have for that week planned and what time. So just know your weekly plans, know your meal plan, and know like what's going on when, because I find that it helps me to have a calmer mind, and it also helps me to be able to have everything organized in a way that makes sense, because then I'm not like making an elaborate meal on the night that my husband will not be home because he's in a meeting. Or it lets me know like, oh, you have a wedding this weekend, so don't plan on making a meal for this day, right? Does that make sense? Like, it just kind of gives you a guide to know when and what you need to be doing. The next thing I have is to make your own cleaners. I started doing this, I guess that was in this year. So in January of this year is whenever I started doing that, because I just wanted to try it. I wanted to see if it made a difference in our finances, if it made a difference at all. And I will tell you, it has saved us so much money. Like, I did not think it would, but almost every single cleaner has the same ingredients. And so if you buy in bulk all of those ingredients, like baking soda, laundry washing powder, I believe is the right term, and borax, and like Castile soap and vinegar, like that literally pretty much covers most of your non-toxic cleaning. So I highly recommend looking into that, because making your own cleaners is super easy. It's not hard, and it works really well. Next one is to buy used cars. My husband and I do not carry a note for our cars. We probably never will, because we'll always buy used. And so that's something that we always do. And all the maintenance we do ourselves as well, or my husband does it. He's also a mechanic, so he knows a little bit more about it, but if he doesn't know about it, he looks it up on YouTube and he just does it. So YouTube can also help with a bunch of things that you don't know. That's how I learned to make all my cleaners and everything like that. That and Pinterest, those are like the two places. Learn to fix things and make things yourself. So my husband learned how to do a bunch more stuff on his end, and learned how to grow his business and to do better things using YouTube, and he looked that up all himself. And then I did the same thing with my business. I learned different ways to make money with it, and then I also learned how to make like kombucha, how to make sourdough bread, how to make sourdough crackers, how to make apple cider vinegar. All these things that I could make myself, I learned how to make myself, and like kefir and things like that we were spending a ton of money on, and I've just learned to make it myself, and it's just been really easy. And it also makes you have this feeling of abundance, because you always have it on hand and you always have to be making it. So it's like something that can sit or be made. So so that's something that I think is really helpful for everyone to look into and to learn more about. Okay, so sorry, my camera got full, but I used to love to get my nails done and to go get an iced coffee before I went to go get my nails done. That was just something that was super fun, or get iced coffee on the way home, whatever. Where we used to live, it was super easy to find a place, and it was super cheap, not cheap, but it was cheaper then to go do some of that stuff because of inflation. But my husband and I have some serious goals whenever it comes to our finances this year, especially with buying a home, building a home, and doing all that stuff and paying for it mostly out of our own pocket. So we have really had to be diligent with our finances. My husband is just as, I guess the term is gazelle intense as me, and we have been really diligent about our finances. And so one of the things that I learned to do on my own was to be able to do my nails at home and have salon quality, as well as being able to make my own iced coffees with my coffee maker and espresso machine. So learning how to make those things and learning how to do those things is super easy. You just have to look it up on YouTube, really, truly. I will link my blog post that I did about how I get my salon quality nails at home. It has helped so much with our finances and saving that much money, because I mean, what is that, like $200? I don't know, I wrote it down. It's like $3,000 a year that you're saving money on just alone in your nails. So just thought I would mention that. Now there's, again, nothing wrong with it, but if you're trying to save money and really trying to like knock out and save as much money as possible a month, that's something that is good to like think about. Minimizing going out to eat. This is something that my husband and I used to love to do. We still love to go out to eat, but we make it like one day, or like 1 to 2 meals a week. But we used to do it a lot more because we loved it. But minimizing going out to eat will help a lot with just saving money. Finding the cheapest brands of things. This is something that kind of goes across the board, but if you know that there is something that is just as good of quality but cheaper, or something that is similar in quality, maybe not exactly the same, but it's cheaper, I would recommend looking into that or seeing if there's even an option for that. So whenever my husband and I were going through all of our finances, we looked through everything and we said, okay, can we find a dupe for this? Can we find something that we can replace with this that would still give us a similar quality, similar experience, but just a little bit cheaper? And so that went across the board of all of our finances, and we looked at that, and that was something that we tried to find in almost every area. So look at that if that's something that you can do. Only use packaged foods for travel, or like lunch boxes if you have kids in school, and then at home use like the bulk options. So for instance, like the pouches, like the food pouches, because that's the stage that I'm in life, so that's my experience that I can share with you. But like for our home use, we have like this big jar of applesauce, but like if we're going somewhere, I have those apple sauce pouches, and like let's say we're going to go look at our house and check on it and stuff like that, and it's getting closer to dinner time or like a time where my son would want a snack, I will pack one of those with us. But if we're at home and he wants applesauce, I just take it out of like the jar because it's just cheaper that way. And it also makes your pre-packaged foods last so much longer, so you don't have to buy it as often or as frequently. So there's that. Check bank account frequently. I have been awful at this, but I've gotten much better at it. But it's like just checking it almost every day, every other day, just checking on everything, making sure everything looks right. Getting in the habit of checking your bank account is very helpful. The number one thing that helped my husband and I understand like our finances was writing everything down. We did have an Excel spreadsheet whenever we first got married, and that's what we used for I don't know how many years. We used it for a while, but then we realized that we're much better whenever we write it down versus having the Excel spreadsheet. And I don't really know why, but it's something about the tangible evidence of writing it down that really helps with everything. So I highly recommend just writing down your finances and then going through those and seeing how much you spend in each category. It will just help so much. And so if you organize your life and write down your expenses, you are on the right track to learning how to save and be a really good steward of your money. Use cash more. This is just a general statement. Using cash has helped my husband and I not carry over a note for anything, and also be able to like visibly see how much money we are spending on things. Find ways to make extra money in your budget. So for instance, I make money off my blog, I make money off of YouTube, I make money off of other like MLMs that I'm a part of. I make money from them, okay? And it has just been really helpful. My husband does the same thing. He sells oil, he does mechanic work on the side. This is all outside of our realm. Like this is all outside of our normal 40-hour-a-week jobs. So I just want to point that out, like find money where you can. And since I am actually like the one that is with my child most often, I have to find things like MLMs or social media, things that don't take me away from my child, but just like I can do at any point in my time. So for me, it's a little bit different in that, but look up stuff like that. There's so many different things you can do online to be able to make money. Affiliate links, I make money on all kinds of stuff. I will link my video where I talk about how to make money on social media if you're interested. And then also contact me on Instagram if you're wanting to know more about any of the MLMs that I work for. And then use free resources as much as possible, like the library, outside, nature. Water, literally water hose is super fun for kids. It also makes you feel really nice and refreshed too, and also gives you time to just kind of sit and not do too much as a parent. Church free resources, so any free resources that your church is doing, the library is doing, and then also look up things on YouTube, different ideas that you can do to learn and to have something fun, right? Like there's so many different resources out there now. Wait to buy or price things out and see how long it will take. If something is really, really expensive and you really want it and you think it's going to be really helpful for you guys, price out how long it will take to get your money, like a return on your investment, an ROI. Figure out how long it will take to do that. Or even if like your return on your investment, like let's say for instance an Instant Pot, you're like, I really want one of those, I think it'll help me a lot, blah blah blah. Then not look up, but kind of figure out how long it will take you to get like the return on your investment as far as time wise, right? So like it's just nice to kind of see that. It kind of puts things into perspective if you really need it, if you really want it, things like that. So look into stuff like that. See how long it will take to get your money back once you invest in that. So there's that. And then also, if you can at all possible, I know this is like kind of a touchy one, I guess, because some people can do it and some people can't, but try to see if you can like get your kids out of daycare. It's so expensive now that it's almost worth like you working from home if you can and watching your children. I know like that's nearly impossible for some people, but I just wanted to throw that out there because daycare is so expensive. So if you can afford to or have people watch your child, then that might be a good idea. I don't know. I know that that's totally touchy and some people can't do it, and that's totally fine. But I just wanted to put that in there as like a little tip if you can. Find the cheapest price on natural products or like essential oils or something like that. So for me, I go to Thrive Market, Simply Earth, and one more. I use Young Living sparingly because it's just so expensive. If we have room in our budget for it, we will. But if we don't, I use Thrive Market and Simply Earth and Revive. Those are like my 3 essential oil companies that I use because we don't use plugins, we don't use like scented candles or fragrance in any way. So I will either use my own wax melts that I make from essential oils, so I will let you guys know. But in my personal life, I don't use Young Living very often just because they're so expensive and all of that. But for my business stuff, I use Young Living. I hope that makes sense. Like in my business, like in my office, I use Young Living because it's the highest quality. And if you ever buy anything from me from Etsy, it's using Young Living oils because it's so high quality. However, for my own life and my own personal life, I use Simply Earth, Revive, and Thrive Market. And I primarily use those for like scented oils because we don't actually use anything else. Like we don't use wax melts, we don't use any of that stuff unless I make it for us. So anyways, there's that. Also, try to be grateful for what you have. And I find that if you take the time to be grateful and have gratitude towards your items, even if it is small, it does help a lot. Purging if you need to, so like if you feel like you're just surrounded by stuff and you just want to get rid of it, purge it or sell it, get rid of it, and allow yourself to feel just very content and happy where you're at. Also do contentment challenges. What this is where you, like, let's say for instance like this corner behind me, like it's just too cluttered and I want to buy new stuff for it because I think it needs to be more organized. What I will do instead is I will resituate this whole corner over here to where it works for me still without me having to buy anything. So it's called a contentment challenge, where you see something that doesn't make you content and you work with what you have and you shop your house and you find things that work for you and make you happy and feel content with what you have. And then also be grateful for the skills that you're learning, because some of the stuff like making sourdough and kombucha and stuff like that that I do, that I love doing, I never would have done it if we never were in like our financial situation that we're in right now, where we're trying to pay for a home and pay for a home build, which is extremely expensive in case you do not know. And so for us, if we weren't building a home and we weren't living off of a lesser income, I would have never learned how to make sourdough. Do you get what I'm saying? So like all these skills that I have now and this mindset of like knowing how to make my own cleaners, knowing exactly what is in my own cleaners so I know that they're non-toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like these things are so wonderful for me to know and makes me feel very empowered and excited and grateful for the fact that I know all of these things, because it takes time to do that. Keeping up with maintenance. I know this is one that actually like most people don't say, like they say if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I kind of disagree with that, because I find it's cheaper to maintain something than it is to fix it when it is broken. So take that for what you will. It's a general statement, but I like to make things and maintain things because Otherwise, I find that if you have to fix it or something like that, it's way more expensive. And then always put money aside for all of the categories that you want to save for. So like for instance, this is just an example, like clothes. I always put money towards clothes for my son, for myself, for my husband, no matter what. Even if it's like $10 a month, I put it towards that, because whenever we go to then buy new clothes for myself, my son, whatever, it still takes money off what I would be spending if I never put that aside, if that makes sense. Like, it's still helpful money no matter which way or how much you have or how much you put aside to it. It's still helpful money. So that's something that I wanted to point out. And then change providers if you can. Like for instance, if you're spending too much on your phone bill, change providers to someone else and see if you can even do that for your area. And see if you can do that with like other things like cable, internet, whatever. Like find a new provider to where you can pay less and stuff like that. Wash cars at home. Buy the supplies to wash your car and clean out your car and do it at home. I know it takes time. I'm like the #1 person that hates cleaning my car. You can ask my parents, you can ask my husband. I hate cleaning my car. I never want to do it. But I bought the supplies to do it at home, and I do it at home because it saves us a lot of money, and I appreciate that. And we have major goals, and I am super like focused on them because it's not going to last forever. That's the other thing I want to mention. This will not last forever. It's just a stage of life that you're in. And then also the last thing is to meal prep snacks. It's so helpful to have snacks meal prepped. I used to do like the full meal prep of breakfast, lunch, dinner, all that kind of stuff, but I found that I wasted more food than I did actually like it being helpful. So I only meal prep snacks because those are the things that I never want to make. So I always meal prep those for the week, and that's it, and that just helps me so much with everything. So that's all of my tips. If you've made it through this whole video, God bless you. Leave a comment and let me know what your favorite money saving tip is, because this video is super long. So I thank you so much for being here, coming back to my channel, and I also want to just thank you so much for Gravel for sponsoring this video. I'm going to talk more about them in the next clip. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye. Alright, now back to today's sponsor, Gravel. Gravel is one of the more natural companies that has been here for over 70 years. And it has quality and trust assurance, and it's something that helps with nausea, vomiting, motion sickness, and everything like that in a natural way. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but whenever I was growing up, I actually, and still do, struggle with motion sickness. So they've got 2 different types of things that can help. They have the Gravel Ginger that helps with motion sickness, nausea, vomiting, occasional upsetness of the stomach, and is non-drowsy. It is amazing. The next one that they have is motion sickness relief. This is very similar to like Dramamine, or however you say that. It is all natural. It prevents nausea, vomiting, and dizziness due to motion sickness. Again, this is backed by over 70 years of quality and trust. These 2 are now available on Amazon, and I will leave a link for them down below. Thank you so much for Gravel for sponsoring this portion of my video.